Hello everyone and welcome to the Tank Club. You've probably just finished watching the global reveal event for the Elder Scrolls Online 2024. I got a chance to participate in a pre-brief event earlier on this week, and so I just wanted to share some of my thoughts, some extra information that you might not have seen, and a bit of the Q&A stuff that we got to see with the devs. If you didn't get to see the global reveal event, you're in for a massive treat with the 2024 info that we've got for this game. It's going to be a truly exciting year. It's going to be a huge year for all players in ESO, and I'm truly excited. So the first big thing that we're going to see coming into the year is the new chapter Gold Road. Now that is going to be releasing in the summer, June 3rd for PC and 18th for console. We got to see the awesome new cinematic trailer, always one of my favourite times of the year, January every year. New cinematic trailer, absolutely amazing stuff. We got to see the Nord hero back in there as well, one of my personal favourites, as you might have seen from the outfit of my costume on my character. Now with this new zone, we're going to go to the Westweald zone, and Skingrad is going to be the main city. Now the area is split into sort of 3 biomes with different kind of things going on. We've got 30 hours of new content, which is fantastic. Lots and lots of story content. We've got the new prologue, which will bridge the gap from the Necrom story, where you got left on a cliffhanger, into the new Gold Road story. So that's going to be really good. If you finish the Necrom story and then you've also finished the Gold Road story, you're going to gain access to extra quests, which complete the entire story arc. So next year we can expect like a whole fresh new thing, because we're going to be finishing off this story with this new chapter. There's going to be a new trial, a 12-person trial. Lucent Citadel is the new 12-player trial coming along with Gold Road, and ZOS have looked at the kind of world map. They wanted to flesh out the world a bit more, and that's why this big open space where Gold Road and the Westweald zone is going to be going, that's why it's kind of slotted in there. They're revisiting the Bosma, and kind of they wanted it to be very different from Necrom. Necrom has got a very unique style to it. They wanted it to be very different to that, and so they found this perfect little area for them to work with. You are going to see a new Daedric Prince with this, and Ethelia is going to be there. The story strongly revolves around her, and there's a lot of people excited to see her because she's a really cool looking new Daedric Prince. Now, one of the fantastic new systems that is coming to the Elder Scrolls Online is Scribing. Now, last year we got the Arcanist, and obviously we weren't going to get a new class 2 years in a row. That's just like a bit too much. I think we're still kind of letting that Arcanist settle in a little bit. So the big feature coming is Scribing. You do need to own Gold Road to be able to do this, and people are going to call it spellcrafting, but it's not spellcrafting. I just want to say straight away, this is the way that you've got to think about it. So Scribing is basically a precursor for spellcrafting, and the Elder Scrolls Online is 1,000 years before any other Elder Scrolls. So this is ZeniMax's take on what spellcrafting would morph into in the future, lore-wise. So if you think about the lore of the game, this is what spellcrafting started as, and then like what you see in the other Elder Scrolls games is what it turned into eventually. It's the starting point of what spellcrafting became, basically. So there's going to be a Scribing story arc to give you kind of a background of Scribing and also learn how it all works. There is spell customization. That's what this is. It's a spell customization feature to the game, where you'll be able to change how existing spells work. So not ones that are already in the game, there are going to be some new ones. So the weapon skill lines, the world skill lines like the Mages Guild and the Fighters Guild, they're all going to have a new customizable skill that you can go and customize for your own needs. Now, customizable skills will have one part that cannot be changed. This is going to be called a Grimoire, and it's kind of like the base ability. So you cannot change that. It's going to have certain effects, it's going to have certain animations, it's going to have a base of an ability. Now, if we take an example of a bow skill, it might have, well, it's going to shoot an arrow and then your character will do a backflip. Now, you won't be able to change that. The only thing that you can change is you can change the sockets, or the scripts they're going to be called. And you can input some options. You can customize up to 3 different options of these scripts and place 3 effects into a skill. Now, for the primary part of the skill, you might choose like the type of damage that you want the arrow to do. It might be poison, physical, bleed, it might be restoration. You can choose what that is going to do, what the initial arrow is going to shoot out and what it's going to do. Now, if you choose like AoE, it's going to have a customized animation and effect for AoE or for a single target, depending on how you decide to use it. there will be a pre-made animation and effect for it. For the secondary part, it might be one of the long list of different effects that you can apply to this skill. So you'll get to choose what you want this to be. It might be recovery for yourself, it might be healing over time, damage over time, it might be a snare, or many others. There's loads and loads of different things they're going to be adding in here. It's not a completed thing yet, so there's going to be a lot more stuff added in the future. And then like there's going to be a third and final socket where you can add like a debuff, maybe a vulnerability, a maim, a lifesteal. There's going to be many of those as well. So you're going to be able to create your own perfect skill. And it just sounds so fantastic. I'm super excited. So the scribing system won't allow for all buffs to pair together and all effects to pair together for balancing reasons. So for example, if you did choose like the restoration arrow and then the heal over time for the secondary effect, that would work. But like if you choose poison, some effects will be turned off, so you can't match them with others. And that's going to really be the way that this system works. So guild and world skills are the ones that they're going to be focusing on. And the reason for that is because they wanted to make it so that you can customize as many skills and you've got access to all of them. So if it was Dragon Knight skills that could be adjusted, then obviously a large portion of the player base wouldn't be able to have fun adjusting those skills and taking part in scribing. Whereas by making it all weapon and all world skills, you've got the opportunity to go along and customize a lot of different skills and add them to your build, regardless of what class you've chosen to be. So it's really important that they've done that to make it accessible so you can have as much fun and play around with as many skills as you can. Now, inks are going to be the currency that you need for scribing, and if you want to change the skills, this is going to be, we can't stress it enough, this is going to be very different from other Elder Scrolls kind of spellcrafting. It's just not the same thing. So we've already talked about that. It's going to be very, very different. There's many, many different possible combinations. With the few that we got to see, there's going to be a lot more than what we saw. There's going to be loads of extra stuff added, and it's not going to be fully confirmed until it reaches the PTS. So obviously this is the chapter that's coming in the summer, not the Q1 DLC. So we've got a little bit of a wait to find out more information, but it is very exciting. And we did find out as well that scribing skills will be affected by things in Affinity Archive. So any Affinity Archive bonuses, scribing skills will be buffed and benefited from those things as well. Now, one of the other exciting things that comes alongside that is styling. Styling is your ability to change the colors of your abilities. So ability effects that happen, you can change the color. You can turn something purple, turn something into a different color. At the start, this will only be part of the scribing system, so skills that are created in the scribing system, you can adjust the colour of the effects and the way that this works. And I imagine this has come from the fact that the Arcanist had a very unique style where everything was very green, very visual, and I think maybe they took some inspiration from that to go, oh, we can maybe add some customization effects. So this is fantastic for players who really like that customization. You're going to be able to add in all those different effects. This is kind of like a future building thing as well. So in the future, there's a big plan to add more customization. Maybe even things like pet skins and other in-game player effects will be affected in the future. So this is a system that's at like its base creation and will be added to in the future. And another big thing that people are going to be happy about is like all of the styles that are needed for styling, they are going to be earnable from playing the game. So they're not going to be purchases. Everything that's there at the start for styling will be earnable by playing the game. Massive. Now for the year ahead overall, we've got some absolutely fantastic and exciting things that are coming. And this is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a PvEer, PvPer, if you like to do housing, whatever it is, there is going to be something for everybody. And this could be a massive, massive year for ESO because it's just, they're covering their bases with everybody, all players. So in Q1, we have got the first DLC of the year, which is going to be releasing on the 11th of March and the 26th for console. There is going to be more info on the 26th of January, and that's probably going to be on a live stream from Bethesda, and then the PTS is going to be on the 29th. What you can expect to see with Q1 is 2 brand new dungeons, Oathsword Pit and Bedlam Vale. I am very excited to see what they come up with for these dungeons. Obviously, we haven't had new dungeons since March last year. We used to get 4 a year. I'm glad that they've toned that back a bit because we were getting kind of too many dungeons, and now we are just getting 2 dungeons a year in that first sort of area of the year, and it gives us a chance to really enjoy them, and it gives the developers time to push out some really, really cool looking dungeons. So I am excited to see what they've come up with. We are going to see some new quality of life features in Q1 as well, along with the prologue quest. So in Q3, which is usually the August DLC, we are going to see some quality of life features, and probably similar to how we had it last year in 2023, where there was no big update in Q3. They kind of toned that back a bit so they can focus on fixes and all that kind of stuff. But we are going to get a very cool housing feature. Very cool. I don't know any more info, but it's going to be a really cool housing feature, something that a lot of people are asking for apparently. So if there's something that you guys are asking for housing, let me know in the chat. What are your ideas? What do you think it's going to be? Apparently it's a very highly requested item, very requested feature. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Now moving on to Q4, this is a massive update because the November DLC is going to include a PvP update. This is very exciting. I personally am not a big PvP player or a massive fan of PvP, but I appreciate for ESO to succeed for another 10 years, we need to try and bring back some of the old PvP players that might not be playing anymore. We need to be bringing new updates to keep PvP players playing the game, and they are a strong part of the community, the trading and the economy in the game. So we need PvP to have updates because it benefits the Elder Scrolls Online overall. So you're going to see a big PvP update. Now, things that I do know is they are currently working on Cyrodiil testing and performance. That is happening right now. They're working on performance and Cyrodiil testing to improve things. The new feature is not Cyrodiil related, however. It's not going to be related to Cyrodiil. It's going to be something completely different. So you guys, again, let me know what you think it might be. I don't know. It might be a brand new game mode. Obviously, in the past, we've seen things added. So we might see a new arena type, or I don't know. It could be anything. Cyrodiil, however, is going to remain supported. So I want to stress the fact that the developers have openly, clearly said Cyrodiil will remain supported, and PvP is a big part of the future of the Elder Scrolls Online. This is coming directly from Rich Lambert himself. He has said these words, and so that gives us something to think about. Like, this is something that they are keen to keep working on and improving and making sure that we're appealing to that player base. In Q4, there's also going to be the 2 new companions. We usually get those with the chapter update. They're not going to be coming with a chapter this time because they want to focus on the story and making sure the chapter's amazing. So the companions will be coming later on in the year in Q4. Now, I just wanted to go over some of the Q&A that we did with Rich Lambert as well. One of the big questions was, is there any massive combat changes expected? So we've seen a lot of big combat changes over the years. A lot of players get kind of annoyed, stressed out sometimes. It gets really overwhelming. There's a lot of problems with the huge combat changes we've had. And he told us that there's not really going to be anything. So they've got to finish the hybridization with potions and food, but no major things. Tuning and tweaking some quality of life things, maybe on the way in update 41 for combat. So nothing major. We are kind of settled with how things are right now. No major sweeping overhauls is what he told us. Another question was, is there ever going to be a dungeon story mode added? This is something that I've seen quite a few people asking. It's not going to be happening anytime soon, and I kind of understand why. We've got normal, we've got veteran, we've got veteran hard mode. Adding like a third difficulty would probably take a lot of work, especially with the 88 dungeons that are in the game or something now. So it doesn't make sense to add a story mode because normal is kind of very easy. It's supposed to be accessible for all players. But yeah, story mode, they know about it, but it's not going to be happening anytime soon. Another thing was about open world difficulty, because a lot of players, they don't like how easy the open world is, and sort of the puzzles as well. Is there going to be more interesting puzzles? And we were told that we should expect better puzzles that make sense, but there needs to be a balance, because some people just hate puzzles, some people love them. They need to make sense, they need to be balanced, so they're trying to work on adding more interesting puzzles that make sense. And in terms of overworld balancing, the reason why the game is so easy in Overland is because they want everybody to do it. Once you gain champion points, once you've got gear, it becomes easy, but it's not for new players. If you're a brand new player with no gear, you've got no CP, you might want to even just go and create a new account and see how difficult that is, but it is a lot more difficult when you don't have champion points. If you want to do harder content, there is the world bosses, public dungeons, and other content. And one of the big reasons why the Overland is so easy is because at launch, the game was so hard that people quit. And admittedly, I remember from my early days playing and going around some zones, especially as a solo player, especially before One Tamriel, when you could only see players from your own alliance as well. When you were on Cadwell Silver, going to some of the other areas, there was no one else there. And everything was super difficult. So they just want to make it so that all story content in the game is easy enough for everybody to complete it. One of the other questions that was asked was, is there going to be any expanding of the Infinity Archive? And the kind of spoiler answer was yes. There's obviously, you can expect to see some stuff soon, so potentially this year. Obviously there's more class sets that haven't been introduced yet. They only did a few class sets, they've got a lot more class sets that could be added and probably will be, so that is something that you can expect soon. A question about guild updates was also put to the devs, asking, is there going to be any new features or functions and things added in the future? It's been on the list for a long time. Players want more tools. Guilds are important, so it's something that they know again, but it's not like going to happen very, very soon. It's not happening now. It might happen sometime. They know about it. They have heard people asking for it, so we can expect something eventually. Now, one big thing I get, even I get asked this a lot, is about crossplay. Will we expect to see crossplay anytime soon? Now, this is a complicated thing, and it's a major thing as well. It's a huge, huge thing. And apparently choices were made in 2009 during the development of the Elder Scrolls Online, making it hard to do. They don't want to disrupt communities and economies, which is one thing. Obviously, the games work on different update schedules as well. So it's not anytime soon. Not anytime soon, but they hear you, apparently. That's the words they said. They hear you. They hear us. So crossplay is something that you can't expect to see soon again, but maybe they're working on something. They've got to make those deals with, obviously, PlayStation. They've got to make them with Xbox to make sure that we can all get everybody together. But yeah, not anytime soon. This is a question I'm pretty sure I submitted to the devs as well. Many item sets in the game. There is many, many item sets. There's hundreds and hundreds of item sets. And they're still bringing out more. Like, what can we expect to see in the future? And apparently, this comes up often internally amongst the developers of the game. There's no solution at the minute, but they're looking into it. They're looking for a way. Can they bring out something different? Can they bring out some kind of solution? Because keep bringing out like multiple gear sets every year, and then like the majority of them aren't used, doesn't really make much sense. So they are looking into a solution for the massive abundance of gear sets, and probably the fact that if you wanted to test every gear set in the game, it would take you God knows how many years. Another big question was on inventory size and if we're ever going to expect more storage. And they know it's a pain point. They do not want to add more storage space, but they do want to find different ways to kind of reduce inventory pressure. So they've done a lot of this stuff already, like when they added the item sets, and obviously if you've got ESO Plus, you've got your storage bag and all that kind of stuff. So they're working on ways to kind of alleviate the issue without adding more inventory space. They don't want to increase it because it causes problems on the server load. So you can expect to see like functions in the future, but not more inventory space. One little thing that they did mention was siege stacking is on the way. So there you go. There was a question about Tales of Tribute. This is a big part of the game now, and they're going to continue to support it. They were asked about any new base game content, and the answer was that technology improvements are going to be on the way. Obviously, there's been a big advancement in technology since the game release, so that is something. And you should definitely expect new base game changes and features. And finally, what focus is there in ESO now, like compared to the first 10 years? So ESO is 10 years this year, and we kind of asked them, what is the change in focus now? Like, you've got that first 10 years, what can we expect to see for the next 10 years? And the answer was that the first 1 to 9 years was kind of figuring out what type of game it is, what the players want, how to run the game. And what you can expect to see is a lot of issues fixed, lots of things repaired, improved accessibility, new technology, and obviously the main thing, lots of new features and things that players want to see. So that really is a kind of review of everything you can expect to see in the upcoming year. It's going to be a very, very exciting year for the Elder Scrolls Online. What is the thing you're most excited about? Let me know in the comments below. I'm super excited for Scribing personally. I can't wait to go and customize those skills, figure out things into my build. It's going to be super, super exciting. For more ESO content, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll have lots of builds and info and all that kind of good content over the year. And for tank info, go and check out my website, thetankclub.com. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.